What's up everybody and welcome back to the channel. And a question that I've gotten a bunch of times in streams now, and what prompted me making this video, because I'm a little bit too late to be making a review of Deathloop. I suppose it's been out for a bunch of days now, since the 14th of September. It's been reviewed very favorably. I've spent just shy of 25 hours with the game, and so I have a good idea of what the game is all about and how the systems in the game work. And I've seen all the weapons in the game, I've seen all the skills in the game, and I think I've experienced about 85 to 90% of what the game has to offer. But it's no surprise, or I don't think anybody that has been watching my streams would not know that I'm a huge fan of Arkane Studios. This comes back from all back in the day of them making Dark Messiah of Might and Magic, Arx Fatalis. Dishonored series of course is phenomenal, and a personal favorite of mine is Prey, which is a fucking amazing game, and I think it's just really weird how it's not more fucking popular. And I think it's just because of the weird connection that it has to the previous game that was also called Prey, and people were expecting something completely different. But a very like amazing game. Prey is just phenomenal. But anyway, this video is not about Prey, so definitely Arkane Studios pulled it off again. I think Deathloop is an amazing game. It's definitely one of the top games I've played in this year so far. Doing some research on it, it seems that the studio was working on this for many years, and the follow-up to Prey, which was kind of like this kind of loop mechanism game, which is almost like making an action adventure game that has roguelite elements or something like that, but that is not really considered to be that kind of game. They definitely pulled that off. It is so amazing how they found ways to interwove the four parts of the day. Because let me set maybe it's better if I start off from the start. So if you for some reason don't know what Deathloop is, it is basically an action adventure game in which you control a protagonist that is stuck in one day, and specifically 4 different periods of that day. So morning, afternoon, noon, and evening. And so what you have to do is you have to kind of like figure out how to, obviously your objective is to break the loop and to escape, but you have to figure out how what you do in the morning affects what happens in the evening, and you have to find out ways that you can accomplish all of your tasks, which is basically gathering certain pieces of information but also eliminating certain enemies. And you find out as you play the game that by doing certain things in the morning, for instance, you can force a guy that you usually would have killed in the afternoon to appear in the evening together with someone else, giving you the opportunity to kill them both at the same time. And that's kind of like the idea of the game. It's a shooter, so it's very competent with the gunplay. The controls are fantastic, but it also has a similar skill system to what we're used to from something like Dishonored. So you've got teleport and basically turn invisible and a couple of different other ones. And again, these are also done incredibly well. Nothing is too overpowering, and you can kind of like pick the way you want to play it. You can go in bombastic with shotguns and basically making yourself almost invulnerable and turn into a tank and kill things. You can go totally stealth with guns that have essentially silencers on them, and you can basically just kind of skulk around in the shadows and climb through windows and do your whole thing. So again, this is Arkane's bread and butter. This is the kind of thing like you choose the way that you want to play, you choose the way that you want to accomplish goals, and they hit it out of the park. 3 things which I think are phenomenal that this game kind of like pushes further is, as I've said, the interlock in kind of like figuring out that, you're essentially playing the same thing over and over again, but even after doing the loop 10, 15, 20, 25 times, you still find new things that you didn't see the first time around, or because you've now done something different earlier in the day, it completely changes how something turns out later in the day. And I think it's amazing that they were able to put this together but still keep each run kind of fresh and keep you invested in that. It's a weird game where only about 4 to 5 hours in, you really clear the tutorial per se, and so you actually start opening up the game, and the game really lets you loose, and now you can go do whatever you want, and you can crash the time periods or the different periods however you want. And I think that's the first thing that is just amazingly well done for me. The second thing is, this is obviously a combination of the writing and a combination of a fantastic voice acting by Jason E. Kelly, who is Colt, the main protagonist, but also the voice actors who now the name escapes me, but who plays Juliana. I mean, they're all fantastic, but these are the two voices you hear the most. The story is hilarious. It's funny, it's engaging, it's interesting enough, and a game like this really is driven by, you know, just how interesting the story is. I mean, there comes a point when you kind of get tired of the gunplay and you kind of get tired of the skills and everything, but if the story keeps you invested, then, you know, you're good to go. And this game's got that in fucking spades. So that's point number 2. And then point number 3, not only is this a single player action adventure game, but they somehow still managed to drill in a multiplayer component to this as well, which you also unlock a couple of hours after playing the game for a while, which then allows you to employ or to play as Juliana and invade other people's games. But at the same time, you can also be, as long as you have it of course selected to be open, you can be invaded by other Julianas, which is just like a really fucking cool spin on it. When you invade with a Juliana, you can have different guns and different, you know, skills, and so can the invading one. So you don't always face the same thing. You don't always face, for instance, someone that has a cloak and a, you know, let's say invulnerability combination. It can be different things, right? You can have someone that has blink and maybe telekinesis, you know, something like that. So yeah, it's just amazing that they were able to still put that in as well on top and let it not be like gimmicky and stupid. So it's just really fucking amazing. I know if I was to complain, the only thing I would really complain about is the fact that this is a timed exclusive on PlayStation 5. So of course you can get it on Windows and then you can get it on PS5, but this is a timed console exclusive, and so it will be coming to Xbox at a later stage. It's a little bit sad for me that whoever has an Xbox and, you know, does not have access to a PC or a PS5 is not able to experience this right now, because it is, you know, I mean, whenever it does eventually come to Xbox, of course, you know, it probably, I don't know if it'll have the same uptake as it had, and maybe it's because hopefully there's good word of mouth still about it or something like that. But I really do wish everybody was able to experience this. I guess that's the complaint that I wanted to give. But I mean, in today's world where you have, you know, these exclusive deals that are being set up by the companies to sort of like get the leg up on everybody else, I guess it's to be expected. I mean, I don't like it, but it is what it is. But that's really the only thing that I can complain about. The game is not overly long and stretched, and it has a clear beginning and a clear end, and, you know, you can play it up to a point where you're like, okay, cool, I'm satisfied with this now and I've had enough. But it's just a really well put together game, and it was a welcome surprise to me. But I have to say, I really did kind of like temper my expectations for it, because there was a point when I was super excited for it. Then I started seeing some gameplay, and I didn't really like the art style too much, and I'm still not too blown away by it, but it doesn't bother me. It's just not something that I thoroughly enjoy. But I went from really wanting this game super bad to kind of like going like, okay, don't get too fucking excited, you know, just let it settle in. But I'm glad that I did that, because what I ended up finding was a fantastic game that, like I said, when it gets its hooks in you, so when you get about 3, 4, 5 hours in, which I know sounds like a long time for you to fucking figure out if you like a game or not, but that's literally because the systems in this game, what you have to understand is, not only is everything that I've explained so far, but you have weapons that can have mods on them, and your character itself can have mods on it, and the skills which you unlock have skill modifiers that you can unlock as well by repeatedly farming them essentially from enemies. So it's really like there's a lot going on, and so it does take you a little bit of, you know, tutorial and a little bit of like explanation from their side, which is done very well. I mean, it's almost in a way drip fed, that it's not too, too much information at once, and that you kind of like settle into the whole loop structure of the game, and so that it starts making a lot more sense to you. I just think, as I said, I think I said this already, I think it's a very well put together game, and, you know, congratulations to Arkane Studios for pulling it off. I fucking knew you guys could do it. I believe it in my heart. But it's a fantastic game, and definitely one of the highlights of this year. And if you've been on the fence about buying it and you wanted a recommendation from someone, and that someone happens to be me, I can wholeheartedly and thoroughly tell you to go pick this game up. It's fucking great. Don't bother waiting for a sale or anything like that. It's worth it. Get it. It's a fantastic time. And like I said, if you give it its full run, if you go the full 20, 25, 30, 35 hours, even something like that, if you really want to get all the secrets and all the achievements and everything, I think that'll be a fantastic time either which way. That's it. Thank you so much for watching, especially if you made it this far. Let me know in the comments down below if you've been enjoying this as much as I have, if you've been on the fence and maybe you're convinced now and you're going to pick it up, or if, for instance, you decided to skip it and, you know, you have a reason for that. I'd love to hear it. I'd love to discuss it with you guys as always. But more than anything else, I just want you to have a fantastic morning, a great afternoon, and a super awesome evening wherever you are in the world. And until next video, fucking cheers.
They want the best of me now, best of me now, best of me now, best of me. They want the best of me now, best of me now, best of me now, best of me. They want the best of me now, best of me now, best of me now.